my mission. It's what I believe that I was created to do, was to reclaim the narrative for Black women.
Acting show with me, Reuben Rabstein, and joining me for this exclusive Switchbox TV interview is an actress, director, writer, and producer. Welcome along to the show, Tamara Bass. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Whereabouts are you tuning in from? Where in the world are you?
I'm in Los Angeles, California, sunny LA, enjoying good weather.
Oh God, sunny LA.
Yeah.
Jealous, hey. And how is it? It's all okay. I mean, you can't. I'd imagine you can't do too much at the moment, but
no, they recently reopened our outdoor dining, so we're allowed to do that, which is good because we've been cooped up for a year. So being able to at least go outside, it's great. But no, our movements are still pretty limited.
Of course. And in 2019, you directed, produced, and starred in If Not Now When, which is such a great film.
Thank you.
How almost attached did you get to this project, being so involved in it?
Oh my gosh, it's a movie that I wrote that is very, close to my heart, because it's pretty much a love letter to my friends. It's a love letter. It's a way of me saying thank you for everything that you've ever done for me. So then being able to bring it to life via directing it and acting it and producing it, it's entwined in my existence now. And it was great. I mean, it came out at the top of this year and the reception to it has been amazing. So I feel like, okay, mission accomplished.
That went pretty well.
Yeah, sure. Let's do this again.
We should do this again sometime. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting actually that you saying all the roles that you had in making this film. Were there other people that had a lot of control and could maybe be a little bit bossy as well, or were you just in total control of this project?
It was me and Megan Good. And Megan, she co-directed it with me. We produced it together and both of us starred in it. So it was the first time that that's ever been done by two Black women. And so she was my equal. We, neither one of us were in control. It was just the two of us. But other than that, we had no one to answer to. Our investor was extremely hands-off. He said, make a movie, let me know how it turns out. No one else had any creative input except for us.
Wow, and that's awesome. And of course, your long-term friend Megan Good. I mean, you have your production company together. Mm-hmm. It's such an awesome company because, like you and Megan have said previously, it gives you the opportunity to represent Black women in film. How important is that for you in your just everyday life?
Oh, it's my mission. It's what I believe that I was created to do, was to reclaim the narrative for Black women. And it's not to say that I represent every single Black woman, but that's the point, is that we need to have such diverse representation. We need to have this varying presentation of who we are, and it not be this, hi, I'm a Black woman, hear me roar. It's, hi, I'm a woman and I happen to be Black. And I feel like normalizing our existence and normalizing our stories and taking back our narrative is what I was designed to do. It's what my purpose and my contribution to the entertainment industry would be. Everything I create, if I write it, if I direct it, there will always be a Black woman at the center. There will always be a way to, and it's not, I'm an actor, writer, and everyone's like, oh, don't you write for yourself? And I do, but it's not just for me. Like the last project I did, I wrote it for a particular actor who wasn't me, and she got the job. So it's important for us to make sure that we have a voice, if we have a voice in the process, that we advocate for those that don't have one. So
there's this, and again, I can just feel it in the way you're speaking, this element of sisterhood that you and Megan have as well, and in the Freedom Bridge Entertainment, your production company, everyone's so involved in it, and it also is really apparent in If Not Now When, this
Correct.
element of sisterhood. I mean, you've previously said that these are issues that we wake up to every day.
Mm-hmm.
So how important was it for you to put it on screen?
Oh my gosh, it was extremely, extremely important. One little correction, Freedom Bridge doesn't exist anymore.
Oh,
Megan and I
sorry.
had, it's fine, we have Crazy Actress Productions, but it's important to me because it's representational of life. And I'm a big
Sure.
believer in bringing forth the reality. I don't like to, yeah, there are some things that we go to watch and we escape reality. That's why we all watch Fast and Furious movies. But in terms of what I want to give, it's important that what you see on that screen is a direct representation of my life and of what I believe in. Like, I'm not ever going to put forth something that I'm not an advocate for. And everyone that knows me, even if it's peripherally through social media or my real life, knows that I am the biggest advocate for Black women. And I'm the biggest advocate for Black love and just the representation of what we have to contribute. That's my driving force. So I'm
Sure.
going to try to put forth in everything that I do.
It's so fantastic, and I can honestly, I can feel the passion and the love that you have for all this, the project that you have, and also it is so apparent in the film because it does, of course, trace the friendship group of these Black women, and there are some really delicate and challenging themes that you address in the film. Is it almost this? This letter for people to address what they have going on.
Yeah, I think so many times we hide from our problems. And when we hide from them, they manifest themselves in unhealthy ways. Some people do drugs, some people are alcoholics, some people are just under eaters. Everything that you could think of, it's a way to escape what you're dealing with. And I think with If Not Now When, it was, let's tackle head on some of the issues that we have. And in tackling them, you get to erase the stigma, erase the bad that's associated with it, erase the negative connotations. Let's just deal with it. Everyone has things, and everyone is not happy and perfect every single day. And those that perpetuate that honestly scare me. Like, they petrify me because I'm like, you're the one that's gonna go ahead and blow up the building next week. So let me stay away from you. So I feel like if we tackle these issues head on, we also demystify them. Like, there are women who can't have babies. There are women who deal with opioid addiction. There are women who are dealing with their husbands being perpetual cheaters or their wives being perpetual cheaters. Like, these are things that happen, but let's talk about them. Let's address them. And if you have a solid group of people in your life, then you shouldn't be afraid to embrace and address.
It's a great point. I once heard, I don't know if you're familiar with Maggie Rogers, a great singer, and she once said that the reason why I write about my problems is because no one else can then use them against me.
That's how I have that mindset of, it really goes with my flaws. Like, everyone loves to trash you, like, oh, you're this, you're that. I own the fact that I'm stubborn. I own the fact that I can hold a grudge. I own all of the things that people deem negative. I own them because you will never be able to then turn around and use them against me. And as women, especially Black women, we have this thing where we don't like to be vulnerable. We have to wear this cape all the time. I like to find that group of people that I can be vulnerable with so no one can use those instances against me. And we need more of that. We need more of love, compassion, empathy.
Could not agree with that anymore. And it does show as well in the film, especially in some of these scenes that are really delicate and fragile. How, I wonder, did you make a conscious effort for the film to be that fragile, or did it just take form like that?
I think it was twofold. It was conscious to be vulnerable on the screen, but then it was also, for me, I just wanted the reality to come through. And with the reality and having grounded performances, it lends itself to be very real. And we don't get enough time on screen to show, like, we can hang up our cape and we don't always have the answer. And when we do come to our friends with our problems, it was important to me that there was no judgment. There was no, where you're a bad person because of this, or you're an idiot. No, you need places where you can say, hey, my life sucks. My marriage is a joke. And you have people that say, you know what? I love you. And what do you need from me? That's what we're lacking, I think, in the world. But I have it in my group of friends, and I wanted to show that.
It's a very powerful point, and I agree with you. And then what was it like working with this cast that portrayed these roles and these almost, in many ways, imperfect characters?
Oh, the best characters are always imperfect.
Of course they are. There's something eating them up. That's why we love actors and who they portray, because there's something, we don't even often know what it is, but there's something. What was it like working with that cast?
Oh my gosh, this cast was great. Like, it felt like, obviously Megan and I have known each other 23, almost 24 years. But with the other two women, Makia and Megan Holder, it felt like they fit right into our friend group. Like, we didn't miss a beat. Ironically, Edwin Hodge, who plays my love interest, I've known him since he was 16, and we were doing Boston Public together. Wow. So now it's like, oh my gosh, we're playing these grown-ups and we're like kissing. This is weird. But it felt like family. It felt like for those 4 weeks that we shot that movie, that we were amongst family. It was a safe space, and it felt like, oh, I can do this again with these guys.
Yeah. And also with Megan, you've obviously been friends with her for a very long time, and correct. I think that what you guys have been doing for Black women it's so important, especially nowadays. I wonder if people can be doing a lot more, not just in the film industry, but in every industry, to challenge stereotypes.
I 100% think we can be. I think that oftentimes, especially in America, the Black woman is one of the least protected groups. We have women that go missing and no one looks for us, yet as soon as one young white woman goes missing, it's on everyone's news, yet you have Black women or other women of color, there's a whole indigenous group of women that have been kidnapped or sex trafficked, and no one's talking about that. And I think with Black women in particular, we're so used to being deemed the strong one. They got it. Give it to Black women. They will put, look, and even in our recent election, Stacey Abrams put the state of Georgia on her back and basically helped win the Senate. So it's like we're always looked at to solve everything, but no one looks at us to say, hey, do you need help? And I think that stems in every arena. There has to be a little more looking out for the well-being of Black women and their mental health, their everyday physical health. Give them some help in corporate America, in entertainment, in the medical field. You look at the rates of Black female mortality rates in this country when you're going to have a child. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I think that there's room for improvement across the board.
And for those people, then, let's say, who aren't as clued up, of course, as yourself, and again, not just in the film industry, but anyone in any industry there is. What are the best ways to challenge ideologies, let's say, that are still stuck in stereotypes and racist ideologies? How do you challenge that?
I think you challenge it by having a conversation and stop pretending that it doesn't exist.
Sure.
I recently came off of a project where I was subjected to such microaggressions that it's checking your own privilege at the door. It's recognizing how you speak to someone, how you engage with someone. Are you talking to me the same? If you're talking to me as a Black woman the same way that you're talking to my white counterpart over here, if you're not, check yourself. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why you think it's okay to be condescending to me, but not be condescending to her. Like, those are things that as people of color, we're very aware of. We know, we call it dog whistle politics. We know when you're saying a triggering thing that's directed to us, check that. Check before you say, oh, she was very well spoken. Why aren't I supposed to be well spoken? Why do you expect me to be less than well spoken? Why are you surprised that I'm articulate? Why are you surprised that I'm college educated? Those are things that we don't always acknowledge as prejudice or systemic racism, but it exists. Why are you surprised when I can hold an intellectual conversation? And why am I reading that surprise on your face? Yeah. So those are things that I think we can fix along the way. And it starts at home. It starts with teaching your children. Don't pretend that these things don't happen. Don't pretend that your 5-year-old doesn't need to be taught that him and his Black or Latino classmate, you're the same.
We all come from the same place.
We all come, and I think that that's where we want to sweep it under the rug, and especially in America, we want to pretend that us having Obama for 8 years erased the underlying yucky of this country, but it hasn't. But it's not going to go away if we don't address the elephant in the room.
Most certainly. And speaking of Obama, I literally yesterday listened to one of the episodes of his podcast. He's doing a podcast with Bruce Springsteen, and they spoke about the racial issues in the United States. And just because that there was a Black president does not mean that now all the issues just drop.
No, and it actually
taken by that.
We can't, and then we go from this amazing man to this idiot for 4 years, and it showed how ugly we really were. And it's funny, I spent a month in Canada, and I'm talking to them, and I'm like, you guys were looking at it, even Canadians who are known to be the nicest people in the world were looking at Americans like, wow, we didn't know. I'm like, we became the country that he insulted when he called everybody else, S-hole countries. That's us now. And it's because we wanted to pretend that this stuff isn't happening. This is still happening in 2021. This is still happening today, where I have to have conversations with my nephew about going to the grocery store, going to the corner store, because he has a target on his back. We got to look at this and figure out how to solve these issues.
100%. And you've previously said that you wanted to replicate the full rich lives of Black people, and you're doing just that. And now, Tamara, I am going to, seeing as you are an incredibly accomplished actress, I'm going to put your skills to the test here.
Okay.
Ready for a little game?
Okay.
Now, I'm calling it Unclassic film reviews, right? So these are reviews that people have written. Actual people have written these. You'll be surprised what some of these say. But and you have to guess what film they're speaking about, okay?
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Okay, so film review number 1. Hated it. Too many monsters.
Oh my gosh, hated it. Too many monsters. I have no idea.
It's as dumb as the review. Monsters Inc.
Oh my god! I hated it. Too many monsters. What? Okay.
I promise you, people are out there writing these things.
Okay, too many monsters. Okay.
That was a practice round. Let's set this a practice round. Now you get to the game, okay? Well, that doesn't count as a point or anything. Okay. Spoiler alert, he's not a magician, but boy, he's good looking. This one I like. This one was kind of funny.
Wait, spoiler alert, he's not a magician.
But boy, he's good looking.
I don't know, Harry Potter? I have no idea.
Magic Mike.
Huh? That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. That one's funny. That one's funny.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
This could be my favorite one. You ready for this one?
Okay.
It's disappointing. Animals simply don't talk or sing.
That could be anyone. That could be Lion King.
There
That
you
could,
go.
it was Lion King. Because I was like, wait, okay, Lion King.
Okay, last one, and this is probably actually my this is probably my favorite one, just because of how ridiculous it is. Okay, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Terrible film. Knew what was going to happen. Of course, it was going to sink.
Titanic.
Yeah. People are writing this stuff.
No, I've heard like you click on some things and you're like, what? Like for instance, the Lion King one. Did you not see the cartoon? Like everyone knows it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh. Okay, that was a good one though.
Who's rocking up to the Titanic not knowing what's happened?
I mean, I personally am one of those people who does not like the movie Titanic. And it was mainly because for like an hour and a half, I felt like Leonardo DiCaprio was like hanging on to the board in the water, and I was screaming at the screen like, "Come on, die already! We already know you're not making it.
Stop prolonging it.
Why are you prolonging this? Just die! We could have saved an hour of this movie if you would have just died."
Gotta beat traffic, Leo. Come on.
No, that's great. That was good. That's a good one, though.
So yeah, that's probably the dumbest one that there was. But people are out there writing this stuff. Now, Tamara, I'm going to take it back.
Okay.
Syracuse, New York, growing up. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
Cold. No, honestly, it was, I would say it's a mixed bag. Like, It was great. Obviously, I have a great family. But for me, I always knew that the world was bigger than Syracuse, New York. And I watched stuff around me. Like I watched my city just go downhill, like, poverty and everything hitting the city. And for me, I always wanted to get out and I always wanted to see something bigger. And then there are times where in Syracuse, I felt like I was an anomaly of wanting to get out. And was made to feel bad about wanting to get out.
But why were you an anomaly?
Because, I mean, I know a lot of people who born and raised and stay and who've never left. And I like to use, when I was a senior in high school, there was this map of the United States, and it was listing where everyone was going to go to college, right? So you have this giant map, it's on display in the main hallway. So every time someone decided where they were going to school, they'd tell you the office would put it up on the map. So New York State, they had to like take New York State and superimpose it out because everyone was staying in New York State. And you look at this map and you have like New York State, and then you have like a couple of people going to school in the South. And then all the way over in California, I think it might have been one or maybe two people who ventured past the Mississippi River to go to college. And I was like all by myself in Southern California. So a class of, I think there were almost 300 people that graduated in my high school class. And it was only one little person over on the side. So for me, I always felt like I was just a little bit different. But luckily, I had a family that was encouraging, and I had a family that, told me that I could do it and to go for it. But it was a bittersweet upbringing. And it was cold.
And cold. Cold as I go to New York quite a lot. I've got family in Brooklyn. It's cold as hell over there.
It's cold.
So of course you went to university, college, of course, as you would say, in California. What was Tamara Bass like in college? Tell me.
Oh my gosh, I was put your head down and do the work, girl. Like I'm not a partier just because I'm a natural introvert. But I went to college I went to school a year early. So I was only 17. and most people that are freshmen are 18. So
Sure.
I was a year ahead in school, but I also knew that I was a dual major. So I had to get 2 degrees, but I only have 4 years to do them. So because my parents are like, we don't have any money, we're not rich, like you got to do what you got to do. So my college years were spent carrying a full course load, oftentimes working multiple jobs as well as internships, going to summer school, and just making my way through. So I graduated college at 21, and then I was free, but I didn't have the, party. I had fun. I had a good time, but I wish I could sometimes do it over again. Like I have a little brother that's in college now, and I'm like, enjoy college. Like, yes, go to class, get your degree, but college is about learning outside of the classroom. And I wish I would have done just a little more socializing, but I'm still proud of, my college experience.
Of course. And well, there must have been pressure on you then, in a sense.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. I've always had pressure on me. A lot of it is self-imposed.
Sure.
A lot of it was I knew that I wanted to achieve certain things, and you can't achieve what I wanted to achieve doing things half-ass or coming in with mediocrity. So it was put your head down and do the work. Put your head down and do the work. And it was also knowing, like, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't grow up, rich. I didn't grow up privileged. I had to work for everything that I have. So that gives you a different sense of work ethic. It takes away your entitlement. So
certainly
it was good though.
It's interesting you call yourself an introvert, because I wonder that you studying theatre and being a performer, how do those two tie together?
It's funny because a lot of people think that introverts are meek or shy or don't know how to converse with people. And that's not it at all. Like in my circle, in my close little circle, I'm talkative. I talk a lot. I'm loud. I'm all of those things. But being an introvert, I'm stimulated by internal things versus external things. External things are overwhelming for me. Like if I am out at some kind of social setting or an entertainment setting, I usually like need 3 days after to recuperate, just because it's so much stimulus going on. But being an actor, I'm not playing me. I'm being someone else, but I'm finding the authenticity in that someone else to make you think I'm being me. So it's all a role, it's all observation. But Tamara Bass herself is more, I rather have girls' night on my couch or, an intimate game night with my friends than ever be out at a club or a party with people that I don't know. That's just, I'm usually, if I'm in one of those situations and my friends aren't there, you can always find me in a corner playing like Candy Crush on my phone. And it's not that I don't like, I'm socially awkward in big groups. I never know what to say. I always think I'm saying like the weird thing because I'm also the nerd that has like useless information stored in her head. But I'm able to separate that from being an actor. When it's time to perform, I perform, but I've never needed to be the center of attention. I can perform and then come home and go back to normal. Like it's not a big deal.
So you can switch easily, you think, in between the two states?
Yeah, because when I'm acting, I'm acting. When I'm doing this, when I'm conversing with you, this is a part of my job, but my everyday existence is quiet. It's solitary, a lot of alone time, and that's okay.
Sure, of course it is. No two people are the same.
Nope.
Sometimes we get so wrapped up in thinking what maybe we should be doing and what other people are doing. And
then as you get older, you appreciate who you are, and you appreciate having, like, my best friend since I was 16 years old is an extrovert. She likes parties. But what I love is she respects who I am and I respect who she is. And it's like, never along the lines that we try to change the other. She knows like, oh, Tam, I'm not inviting you to this because it's going to be da 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 da, and I know that's not your scene, or vice versa. I'm like, I know this is gonna be a little quiet for you, but I always tease her because I'm like, I can take you anywhere, and you're gonna know at least one person. You're like the Kevin Bacon of my life, so it's great. But you find who you are along the way, and you realize that you're okay with it.
I like it. And for that 18-year-old college girl,
yes,
what would you say to her right now if you could have a conversation with that 18-year-old you? What's the advice?
Wow, if I could have, I would tell her to ignore what everyone else says, to remember what drove you to pick up and move 3,000 miles away from home, that you had the audacity to do that. Keep going. Don't let anybody try to define you for you.
Powerful. Well, thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us. Honestly, it's been a really, really awesome chat to speak about your career and everything that you stand for, and how so passionate you are about things and just trying to do good by yourself and by other people. It's so refreshing, and thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us. And we can't wait to see more of you in the future.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
All righty. Bye-bye.